Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast where we try to figure it all out with your hosts, Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, Farmer to the Max. Ahoy!
Ahoy!
Howdy, howdy.
What's going on?
Ahoy!
A double way ahoy.
Indeed.
Indeed, all of the ahoys.
How's it going?
How's it going? Aaron, what's going on?
Oh, nothing. I just got home not that long ago. Doing summer workouts and stuff, taking care of all my fields, and just enjoying the short time I have for summer. Because once July hits, we got softball. So I am.
Oh no.
Yeah, I am running back and forth like a mad person. So.
I love how when Aaron says he is tending to his fields, he sounds very much like a farmer.
He does. He is farming away, right?
It's fantastic.
If you know anything about my area, not that anyone comes to visit me or anything, I am literally surrounded by ranchers. Like there's nothing but just ranchers galore. I have tractors everywhere. I have people coming over here and be like, "Well, we're gonna move cattle."
Not across my field. You're not.
I feel a part of the community. So I must act of said community. Want to say, it's also really fun, especially going to sporting events or seeing parents just out and about and having that classic conversation of, "Well, expecting any rain this week?" That kind of juke and jive conversation that we have. It's like, oh, I can't believe we, this weather. Check the forecast for next week. So that plays a huge part of how I interact with locals of my area. So yeah, no, I spent 3 hours trying to fix my one and only big sprinkler that I have. It took me longer to move the sucker because I had to move it clear across campus from the storage shed from the winter time, get it hooked up, try to find the pressure line. And I got home and I was just covered in mud. Just any because I also mowed as well. So, I mean, I'm just, I'm a little I'm dehydrated. I'm probably got sun sickness of some shape or variety. I'm just very tired.
Do you have farmer approved hat to wear?
Yes, so I have a big Boonie-esque hat that I wear.
Oh yeah.
I do wear the long sleeve, and I have a little hoodie thing that I put up also. The one thing
the sun hood deal.
Yeah, I will say I always forget about my legs, and so my knees are completely shot.
Oh no.
When it comes to just being out in the sun. Last Saturday, I was mowing for 6 hours because.
Hey, Dad. We do.
So I have three separate fields I have to take care of: 2 softball fields and 1 baseball field. My baseball field is annoyingly ginormous, like it's just massive, and so that takes forever. My softball field's no big deal, but I have to take a 0 turn, mow everything. I have to go put that up, and then I have to go get what we call the reel mower, which is the kind of lawn mowers that they use to mow like golf courses. So then I got to go grab that.
Right.
I got to come back and then hit the same fields, but I have to remember how I mowed them because I got to mow them in freaking different directions for each one because the grass grows stronger. So I got to go.
Oh, you have to do that pattern thing.
Yes. I can't drive a straight line to save my life because on a baseball field that's curved, like I'll go straight and then I'll just just naturally follow the infield curve or the outfield wall curve because it'll just be like, all right, I'm going to go from this pole to that pole, and then just slowly be like, oh, turn. So I got to mow those different directions, and then I had to take the hoo out and get all the crap from my dirt, and then I just had to drag the sprinklers out, which if you know anything about gardening, there are I have what's called a water reel, and the sucker weighs like 500 pounds. And so I got to roll it out there, stick it. I got to pull out the hose itself that has wheels on it and the sprinkler head, pull that out, clear across the field, set it, go all the way back, plug it into the water line, and then just hope it runs. Yeah, so that's what I spent a good chunk of my time doing today. So, but that's, I mean, baseball season over. I got a little respite from things, and then it was just bam, right into summer workouts, summer stuff, getting fields ready. Shelby's about to go to Mexico on Friday. So just getting ready for that. Yeah. And so getting ready for that. So it's just never ends. There's always something.
Did you tell her that what you really need is just a super sick sombrero for mowing and taking care of the baseball field?
Well, so I have one of those. Not as fancy, but
you need the working man sombrero, right?
Yeah. But I said I wouldn't mind getting a cool souvenir because she's first going to go to Mexico City, and then she's going to go to Veracruz.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so some of her friends are from Mexico, and so they're going to show her, take her down there. Yeah. But she is going to visit like all the Aztec pyramids and stuff down there,
sweet.
and kind of visit close to the Yucatan, I think,
made by aliens.
So yeah, and so I think she's gonna have a blast. She's gonna have a lot of fun as long as she brings me a cool historical souvenir. We'll be good.
True. Probably not because that's hard to get on a plane. So
yeah, and she's already having trouble trying to limit the size of the travel bag. Because there's especially going from different flights, especially cross country. There's different stipulations.
I know it's annoying.
So she's trying to combat that right now. So she's over there packing and about to go on a walk, and so she's not having fun right now.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying when they do that, right? The airlines have standard regulations for literally everything except for carry-on luggage size, which is real useful. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate that. Right? Like, this is not like, what the heck?
Well, and I have something to add to this. We just booked some flights, and there's a certain level of seating. They get you wherever they can, right? But there was one I was reading, and if you bought the ticket, they didn't allow full size carry on.
Oh.
And I don't know what that means. I guess that means I guess the only thing I can think of is
like the maximum allowed
size. They will, if you have one of those, hard case rolly things, that's technically a carry-on. If you buy this level of ticket, you cannot bring that, but you could bring something smaller. And then I'm still confused on the whole, like, the personal item plus a carry-on, like you could come in with a backpack and one of those things and not have to pay. But I don't even understand where the rules are these days.
Well, that's a definitely airline dependent situation, right? Like some of them are like, no personal item, but other ones, I don't think they care because the personal item is usually like a purse or like a small bag.
Yeah.
And so they're just like, whatever, like they don't care. But the carry-on thing is real annoying, especially because I started traveling only with a carry-on because I hate checking the bag, and it's real annoying to like deal with it after you get there, right? So the last trip that we took, I only took a carry-on, but it's like a soft one with like it's basically a big backpack, but carry-on-y, right?
That can fit under your seat, right?
That's what or in the overhead bin. It's like not very big, but like. That was great because I just didn't have to deal with a suitcase afterwards. It makes it like it's much more like your mobility is increased like manyfold, and so it's like yes.
Because I definitely remember like when we were younger going on like those family vacations, and although being small, I didn't necessarily have a whole lot, but then traveling more, it's just like I don't want to. Like I gotta have the essentials, but like we went somewhere. I think we went to Alabama, and I packed this huge suitcase, and we got on a plane, and I was just tired. And although Mobile Airport was not big, but I was like, I don't want to carry this anymore. And I think the next year when we went to Arizona, I was like, as tiny as possible. We went down there for a wedding, so I packed as little as possible.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the wedding, so I didn't really matter. So I got my stuff that was nice, but it's like I'm not packing big ever again. But I will say, whenever we went from Alabama, I think it was going to there because I think we were like in Fort Worth or something. It was like Dallas Fort Worth Airport. It was the one and only time that they've ever been like, "Hey, you've been randomly selected. That if any more people show up, you have to get off the plane." And I was like, and of course the whole thing's like, well, I bought the ticket, kind of thing. And like, the lady was like super nice about it, but I was like, if anyone else shows up, we have to get off. And so we're the last ones to board because they held us back. They let everybody else board. We waited like 10 minutes and then they're like, oh, I guess no one's going to show up. Go ahead. And so it was just super awkward because then we had to like walk through a plane, being the last people on there. And I was fuming. Shelby was mad. I was mad. But it was just like, it was the strangest feeling to experience that after watching, so many things online of people having to, be taken on the plane and they overbooked and blah, 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 blah. But I was kind of a little insulted. It's like, you picked me of all people.
Yeah.
These people don't know who I am. They don't know I have a CDL. How dare they?
Well, if you could drive a forklift, they wouldn't have pulled you over.
Oh, that's true.
They definitely wouldn't have done. Yeah. I could drive a forklift without a license. But I'm sure if I got a license, I probably wouldn't do it. But yeah, so she's getting ready to gear up. I have a sports meeting tomorrow. I have a mini fundraiser Monday coming up. I have a big fundraiser that I'm trying to plan. I'm trying to do a slow pitch softball tournament / glow in the dark / glow stick night where we play like glow in the dark cornhole. All this other stuff.
Okay, you're not going to play glow in the dark softball, are you?
So you say that. No, we're gonna have some of the lights, and we're gonna paint some of the softballs paint all the softballs in a glow in the dark paint.
Not some of the softballs. No, that's the word.
That's what makes it interesting. And so we're gonna have
softball roulette, baby. We're just gonna put them in the pitching machine.
And so we're going to give the people who sign up glow sticks, and we have a bunch ordered, and they get to decorate themselves however they want. They decorate their bat and decorate their gloves. We're gonna decorate all the safety measures, stairs, walls, yada yada yada.
Oh, that's good.
Safety, whatever. And then we're gonna have on the side, we're gonna have a cornhole tournament, and we're gonna decorate the different cornhole boards, and we're gonna paint the bean bags or whatever. And just pretty much do like a whole just night because a month ago, one of my buddies did a slow pitch tournament, and he's like, yeah, dude, we were there for like 6 hours and it was just a blast, and we raised like $20,000. I was like, $20,000, you say?
Like, excuse me, you what?
Wow, you don't say. And so that's kind of where the idea came from. But then in my adolescent / non-adolescent mind, I was like, what if we make it dark? So that is what is causing the mischief. And I'm very blessed to have a very good supportive administration, but it's probably not the best because I'm like, what if we do this? And they're like, okay. I'm like, what? You sure? I can't. They said yes. Can't change your mind. So yeah, that's what I've got coming up.
Should I tell them about that time that I was lightsaber fighting with my friend in the basement and you just hit me with a stick because you wanted to play too and we didn't have any more lightsabers? Do they need to know about that?
It was a scimitar that Dad had,
the big sword thing.
that Dad had made. And yeah, they don't. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. Collin, do you remember that story?
I'm trying here. Remind me.
So Brandon had it was like Colby. Who else?
Yeah, it was Cody, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they were in the basement, and they had the lightsabers. And of course, this was. I can't even remember why or which lightsabers they were, but I know there was the green one.
They were green. They were both the green ones. This was around. This was Yeah, I don't remember when.
It was
this
like when
would
the
have been
Star
either.
Wars movie, like the prequels first came out.
Maybe
Yeah, and so
somewhere.
they were playing Star Wars in the basement, and I wanted to play too. So I just grabbed Dad's scimitar that he like made in like high school or something.
That big
and
wooden
I,
one.
That wood
right.
shop. Yeah.
Yes, and so I just went down there and I went ham. It's not my fault that they couldn't block.
Right in the shin, man.
Yeah.
Right in the shin.
So yeah, I play to win. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, we're not doing that. But no, I came up with all the safety options, and what happens if the little kids get hurt? I'm like, well, I got options for that too. What are we doing for
They
food?
shouldn't have been there.
I got that too. So yeah, I've just been going. I have unlimited power right now, and I'm going to use it. So
do you have a Darude Sandstorm queued up for the speakers to just blast in the like glow in the dark rave? Like,
I do have one of my coaches making a playlist, but
okay.
I won't add that.
Make sure Sandstorm is on there. I think that's the law.
Yes.
I think it has to be on there.
Has to be Darude Sandstorm.
But especially if it's going to be glow in the dark sports, I think that's like it has to be in rotation. That's like.
So, but yeah, that's what I got going on. That's what I've been doing lately. Like I said, after baseball season concluded, which that was a wild storm. I've just been relaxing very briefly, and then just literally.
I mean, you were so busy with your newspaper interviews, right, and your sound bites on the local news station.
Down the door.
Yeah, you had the media tour, right? It was a whole deal. So you had to go.
this thing lasted for like 5 minutes. Pretty much just asked me like, what it's been like for the season, what the kids been like, any shout outs, what I'm expecting for the future. And then like I drove home, and the closest town is like 10 minutes from my school. And then the interview was over, and I was like, "Oh, I'm like really good at this." And then I tried to listen to it, and I heard myself talk. I'm like, "Oh, nope, turning off." So I'm assuming it sounded good. I just don't know if it was or not.
I was listening to it.
A lot of my parents and admin people, they really liked it. So I guess I did fine. I don't know.
You did, except I was chuckling because you were like full blown like coach mode. And just like all the coach euphemisms, you were saying them, and I was just like, "Oh, yeah."
That is. I definitely had to learn how to talk, especially as a coach, because especially as things like giving back to the team, giving back to the community, and then like little things like that. Because I was very blessed to have the kids that I have, but I was just like, I need to say we a lot. I can't say I. So the whole time I am just in panic mode. Like, did I say I? No, I meant the team. Did I say the team? No, I'm talking about the team. And they're like, no, dude, you did fine. I'm like hyperventilating because like, did I say the right thing? Like, yes, you did. You did fine, sweetie. Don't worry. Okay. So that was a big thing. Like the whole. Keep in mind, I drive an hour to work every single day. So from the 10 minutes that it concluded, the next 50 minutes, I was just like, should I call him back? Should I redo the interview? Should I text? Like, what should I do? It's like I was just panicked the whole time.
Wow.
But then I guess it did sounded fine, so I was cool with it. But again, I never listened to the whole thing just because I can't stand my own voice. But yeah, so it's been pretty nuts lately.
Pretty awesome. That's quite a lot of stuff.
Busy. My goodness.
Media tour, farming the grass. You're gonna have to start wearing your overalls, right? That's to make sure your knees don't get sunburned.
How else are you supposed to kick the dirt and go, well, sure needed this rain?
Yeah. I feel so inadequate because, I mean, you know me. I'm wearing like Lululemon shorts. First of all, I got like a long t-shirt on. I got this long boonie hat on, like with a hoodie, and I am just bathing myself in sunscreen. And then like I got some people who just like drive around, and like there's this old gentleman who stopped the other day, and he got out. I mean, he was just farmer to the max, and he came out spitting his dip, and he's like, "What kind of grass you got on this field?" And I was like, "Well, sir, it's actually Bermuda grass. I'm just waiting for the water to get in because after the rain." He's just like, "Well, you probably should have put blah 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 down on it when I feed my cattle. I'm like, all right, hold on. Like this, it's not. I'm not using this to cultivate for my livestock.
Yeah,
here.
this isn't nutritional.
This is a baseball field, sir.
Well,
but then he just got back in his truck and he just, y'all have a good day. I was like, yes, sir. And I turned around to like some of the kids. I was like, whose parent was that? They're like, we don't know. He's just some dude in the area that just like was interested in fields that one day.
It's a grass enthusiast, right?
Yeah. And then, yeah, it was just, and then people ask me, it's like, what kind of like different X amount of pre-emergent did I put on there? And I'm like, got water. And I think fertilizer. Like, well, you should put the X90 P2 on it. Like, I don't know what that is. And then you look it up and there's like a tiny little bottle that's like $190 to like $500. I'm like, I don't think I need that, but thanks. So
yeah, I think you're good.
It's still learning. Yeah, I don't think I need it. So it's a learning experience. I'm having fun, and I'm just blessed to be here.
With that, you should have told him that's some of that old high-powered Kentucky blue hemp super turf. I tell you what, that's what.
Well, I was like, I want to put Kentucky bluegrass on this. Like, well, you see, boy, this is why you can't do that. They're like, well, what if I put, fescue or creeping fescue on it? Like, well, here's what you can't do, boy. And so, like, where we go get our seed at is up north in another uber super farming area. And of course, I go in there like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, I want to order this, and there's the old farmer guy that owns this farm and seed shop. And
he like, no, you don't. You don't want that.
Yeah, he's like, you don't want that. I'm like, but it says on Google that it looks cool. And they're like, you don't want that, you want this. I'm like, oh, okay.
Which one makes the ball roll better or worse? Do you want to roll better or for worse? Do you want to stop or keep going?
Depends. If I'm playing a really good team, I want it as tall as possible.
Slow it down. Right?
Yeah, but if I'm playing, if we're just playing normally, I'll cut it pretty short. He would sit there and tell me, and I'm like, I want this, and I want this, and I want this. He's like, you're gonna get this, and here's why. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I got like parents asking me, it's like, oh, the field looks good. What'd you put on it? I'm like, whatever the old guy told me. So yeah, I'm having fun, trust me. But I'm just like, I don't know what half these words mean. This old guy says that this is good for my field, so I'm gonna do it, just so I don't get yelled at by an old guy.
I mean, old dudes at the farm center know these things.
They do,
and you need to take their sage wisdom and apply it somewhere. So I feel like that's good. You did a good there by just being like, okay, sure, okay. Got it.
Yeah. So that's what I've been up to.
Very nice. Very nice indeed. Well, Collin, how's your groundhog? Or prairie dog. Prairie dog.
Prairie dog.
How's the prairie dog?
Hero is doing well. No, we got to go.
What?
Yeah,
Colin's been pet sitting a prairie dog.
Named
that's what I said.
Named Hero that likes to crawl on your arm. Yeah, Hero's
just
fantastic.
A baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We went kayaking and canoeing down the river.
You were doing research on
piratey
Huck
things,
Finn, right? You were going for it.
So Noah was at the Pirates and Mermaids summer camp at Wonders of Wildlife, and so we got to cap that off by going seaboard and going down the river. Couple things. Base flow for the river is 4 feet. We went at 5 feet. The next day it was 20 feet.
Holy cannoli, that's a lot of feet. That's
The storm that dropped 5.5 inches just only went over the watershed upstream of where it was.
Oh wow.
The little point of entry there was like 10 feet underwater.
Oh my goodness.
The entire road.
So that bridge was underwater?
That bridge was underwater, and that entire lowland was flooded. You couldn't cross it. for a
That
day
happened
or two.
one time. I don't remember why. Aaron, I don't remember what we were doing. I think maybe we met. I don't know if it was Mimi or somebody at IHOP or something. And you were like, "Yeah, I'll drive you home to Dad's house." And then we went that way, and we got down there, and we're like,
"Yeah,
nope,
no,
just kidding."
That was a few years ago because I hadn't been home in forever.
That was a long time ago.
I'm like, I want to go the back way home, and then I was like, "No back way this way."
Yeah, just kidding. The normal way is fine.
Yeah, so it was it was a lot of fun. It's early in the season, so it's kind of cool. But there's with the 5 feet of base at just a little bit above base flow, the water pushed us most of the time.
It's nice. You have to work too hard.
Right? Do you guys remember how long has this been there? Was there a complete log jam when we were there one time?
Yeah.
Okay. Still there.
There's one part where it does like a switchback, and there's like an old channel section, and there was like a big log jam there in the old part, and then there was some kind of like log thing. I don't kind of across the whole deal.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, this one was totally blocked. The water, it wasn't even like a strainer. The water just like ran into it and then kind of ran through it slowly. So we had to get out and port over this gravel bar, and of course you're down in the water. The gravel bar rises up on your left like 5 feet, just like straight up, and so so you had to drag everything up and over. And I was like, it's a real adventure now. But
is it close to that old place where all those old concrete blocks are?
Yeah, it's upstream of that a little bit. Yes,
upstream of that. Okay.
Yes, yeah. And so no, it was a great time to be out. It took us. We were out on the water for about 3 hours. And
it's not too bad.
Yeah, no. And then of course it was crazy because then that night the rain started, and then that morning I like checked the river gauge, and I was like, guys, you'll never guess what is happening right now.
Just in time. We made it just in time.
We literally made it just in time. And it was kind of cool because as you go underneath that bridge right at the very beginning, we looked up, and there was all of this woody debris lodged in under the trusses and in between them. Right. And I said,
you know what that means.
Like, how did those get up there? And of course they were like, I don't know. I was like, the water gets that high. And they looked at me and they're like, no way. And I was like, way. And then of course the next day I'm like, way, guys, way.
It's over that now. Guess what?
Yes. You have no idea.
Surprise.
Surprise. So no, it was great. It was their first time on a little river like that. So so they had experienced a little bit of canoeing. So when we had done an overnight in the tree house, there was a little pond near there, and we had gotten a little canoe and gone back and forth in that pond.
Mm-hmm.
But being on a pond and being on a river are very different. And so it was just like the whole thing was just like this crazy experience, and they had a blast. Megan was in my kayak, and just like every single person who gets in a kayak, kayaks have a way, especially the closed kayaks. It's if you have an open top kayak, this doesn't really happen to you. It's something about sitting down and being enclosed in a kayak that all of a sudden your brain starts to go, I could do that. Oh, I could totally.
She turned into whitewater Megan. Like, no, guys, I got this.
I've got the two kids in the front of the canoe, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to pull over here. I'll just walk the boat around. And Megan's like, I think I got this. And I'm like, no, don't. Literally, the river goes straight into a log and then hard left. No, do not do this.
Did she, in fact, have it, though? Did she show you her skills?
She did do one. And I was like, okay, very proud of you. Congratulations. Okay, now please don't do that again. But it was so funny because within 5 minutes, she was, all of a sudden she was like, doing she was thinking she was the extreme kayak whitewater people doing flips off waterfalls and stuff. Again, I don't know.
They're so maneuverable, right?
And that's what it is. Because it happens to me. It happens to me when I'm in a kayak. I'm just like, oh, I am invincible and I will go through everything. This is no problem. But so that's why kayaks are dangerous, kids. Don't get a kayak.
No, come on.
No, they're fun. So yeah.
Do they have remember they used to have those gates that were right there in that park that were like kayak slalom gate things? Probably too early in the season for those to be up yet. They probably do that in summer because the water gets too high.
Yeah, they don't have anything. They didn't have anything up.
They were they were on a wire, so they probably have to come out and put them up.
Okay.
But there's a place where they do that. They like hang those things up and they're little slalom gates for, I don't know who does it, but I know they used to.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about, but no, they didn't have those here. They weren't up yet. So it was, and then of course the kids were talking about, could we go out on the water now? And I was like, okay, well, here are two things. Well, I said, remember all those things that we had to go around and carry the boat across and walk around? And they're like, yeah. I said, those aren't real anymore. Those don't exist. Those are 10.5 feet underwater. But we are also being...
There's exciting new things.
Yes. Hurled down the river in an uncontrollable way. Oh, and also, remember those 5-foot wide logs that we saw on the banks? Those are now floating alongside you, and you're running into them, right? And you are bashing into treetops. So, yes. No.
Yes. Fun and exciting.
Brand new dangers, everybody. Brand new. It's not.
You were wondering how that erosion on that cut bank was so high earlier.
Yeah, well, and that was something too. Yeah, we have those cut banks, and so it's kind of cool to be going down, and we would see one, and I go, okay, guys, like, what's different about that bank? And they'd say, well, there's a lot of dirt, and I say, okay, what do you see on top of it? And I'd say, what do you see on top of it? And they go, nothing, and I'd go,
yep.
And they're like, oh, there are no trees, and I was like, exactly that. Why it looks like that. So got in some reforestation talks too.
Although if you have nice native grass, right, they have really good roots that will hold at least the top part together.
Absolutely. So, yes. However, when it is not nice native grass.
Yeah, the guy at the place sold him the wrong grass. What the heck? Man.
Yeah. Right.
Farm center guy let those people down. So,
Aaron, you should go talk to him.
They need Aaron's guy.
You got to get this guy.
I got a guy.
Yeah, need a grass guy. Oh no. Okay. Anyway, next time. Aaron's grass guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So no, that's been the most exciting thing that we've done this week. Pretty fun.
That's pretty exciting though.
Yes.
Let's be real here. Like,
yeah, it was great. It was really cool to get out and see everything. So then we've been just business-wise, we've been onboarding like literally insane. Like I've never done this much new staff. So here's to it all goes well.
Ooh, yeah.
Because we're trying to get ready for some trips this season, this summer, and get some space in our lives. So yeah, that's what we've got going on. All that good stuff. Yeah, not a whole other than that. Aaron, we were thinking of you. Noah's wrapping up baseball, and so I was just looking at his season-ending photos of him, and my kids love the stick-on tattoos, and
oh yes, they do.
Dude, they love these so much, and we stuck some on right before these. So he's got a giant I think it's an orange on his forearm.
Nice.
And a couple other things on it. So he looks real. He's really looking real tough in his thing.
So you look like every 90s baseball movie, there was always the big giant guy that had like way too much chew in his mouth, and he always had weird arm tattoos.
Yes.
Like in Rookie of the Year, right? And all those other ones, like, do you look like that? Was that who he's trying to be? Was that his inspiration? Like,
I think so. I can't say for certain if he's actually seen that movie, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Has he watched Angels in the Outfield yet?
It is on his list.
Okay, that's important.
We discovered that while we were searching for Robin Hood to watch because I have been humming. They're whistling and singing Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest. And the kids were like, "What's that from?" So I told them, and then they were like, "We need to see this now." My question to both of you: does Dad have a copy of that in his house?
Yeah, but it's on it's not one that we bought. That's one that is recorded on a black tape. Just a black.
Yeah.
Hey.
And I believe actually it is on the same tape as the aforementioned Milo Notice that we discussed at length before here.
Okay.
Get a rip.
Yeah.
Hey. So we need to find that unlabeled or partially labeled black tape. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I
also have a DVD if you need to borrow it.
Okay, so I have a digital copy of it that I obtained off the back of a truck. And it is sitting on a server that I have, and so I had to log in remotely and then like use Dad's Chromecast to go to his TV to stream it from us. So we did in fact watch this. But yes, while searching for it, we did see Angels in the Outfield, and Noah said, "What is this?" And I said, "A movie you would like very much." And he went, "Okay."
So I remember when I interviewed at this is a school a while back, and it was known for a baseball school, and it was probably one of the hardest interviews I ever had as far as like coaching goes. But one of the questions they asked was, "What is your favorite baseball movie?" And I said Angels in the Outfield, which is
the correct answer.
Obviously.
It's not The Natural. Get out of here. Blah. Boring.
My one of my colleagues, he picked like Bull Durham. Bull Durham, sorry.
Bull Durham,
and then he picked, and then there's another guy that picked what's that other Kevin Costner movie? Where he's a baseball pitcher.
Oh, not Field of Dreams?
No.
Okay.
Because
that's a movie about corn. That's
then the other film I gave was The Rookie.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely love. But they're sitting there, is like, you give him Angels in the Outfield and The Rookie? I was like, well, yeah, what did you give him? And he listed like serious baseball movies. I was like, oh.
Well, that's no fun.
You're not
cool. Serious baseball movies.
Yeah, so it was. I just remember that like it was like the hardest interview, and at the tail end, he's like, "What is the best baseball movie?" I'm like, "Angels in the Outfield." Duh. Like, who the heck is this guy? But I got hired, so I'm assuming that was a right answer. But yeah, I think you would like Angels in the Outfield. As far as a baseball movie, Bull Durham might not be like the best movie for him, especially like right now. But yeah, he might be able to handle The Rookie. For sure.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one too. Right. Got to wait for later for what's the weird one with the? What's the one? Charlie Sheen.
Oh, Brandon, you would ask.
What is that? Major League? Is that it?
Major League? Yeah.
Got to definitely wait on that one. Don't do that one.
Okay. I'll start building my list here.
Costner baseball movies.
Yeah, it's just Field of Dreams, right? I don't know.
So For the Love of the Game, that's the other one.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, Kevin Costner baseball movies. No, not that. He's been in like a bunch more. Fastball? I think it's fastball. Yeah, for the love of the game. That was the other one that I could not think of. But anytime I think of baseball movies, I always think of Kevin Costner.
Interesting. Yeah, I think of just mostly. I know that The Natural is a lot of people's favorite movies, but I don't really like Robert Redford all that much. So
yeah,
I don't really think about that. But a lot of people really do like that one. They're like, "Oh, The Natural, it's so great." What? No, not a good thing.
I was bored one day and watched a YouTube video where he broke down almost all of the baseball movies and how realistic they are. And
nice.
Like, he had like this amazing score. Realize it's like a 3-hour long video that I watched in its entirety. Some of them never even seen or heard of before. But
this is what YouTube does to you. Just sucks you in.
I also, which I know is completely off topic. There's a guy.
I know you haven't been here in a while, but that's the show, so it's fine.
Yes, there's a guy that I watched, and he has 2 videos out. Do you want to know what his topics are of choice?
Oh boy,
he has many videos.
Okay,
the 2 that I watched in their whole hour and a half entirety. Do you know what they were?
I don't know. I watched some really weird YouTube videos. So
his first one, him and his buddy went to every single rainforest cafe in the United States and Canada.
You know what's even weirder? I've seen this video. That's what
he is also the same guy that went to every single
Margaritaville one.
Margaritaville one.
Yes, I watched that too.
Yes. and then he ranked all of the Barbie movies, which Shelby will not let me finish because she used to watch those as her childhood. So I don't know how any of them ranked because she's like.
I mean, she's going to Mexico, so you got time to finish watching it when she's not there.
He's hating on the Barbie movies. It's like, well, no, he's just ranking them. It's different. So yeah, I watched this guy and I'm obsessed with. I was like, because if you guys remember going to Illinois, I was like, to go see Barb and all them. I always asked, can we go to the Rainforest Cafe? In was it Springfield, Illinois, in the mall?
No, it was in Chicago.
We went to Chicago?
Yeah. So at least twice. Yeah, that was in Chicago.
Is that when we rode the train?
That is also another time. But one time we just drove with Barb and the kids. We just drove
there. Okay. I think I was in Springfield. It wasn't really Chicago.
It was definitely in Chicago. Yeah.
Oh, but dang. Huh.
Yeah.
Where was I at? So yeah, I just thought that was hilarious.
Just enjoying the giant animatronic alligators. What are you doing?
Yeah,
that's what you were so fascinated by. I think it's probably crocodile, but whatever. You were just so enthralled by the mechanical genius
and then
the Rainforest Cafe.
Giant, terrifying thunderstorm that was the loudest thing ever.
Yes, it was really loud.
Yeah, it was just speaking of movies and YouTube, and that's the one thing I was like, I have to bring this up. So,
yes, it's not weird at all that you've watched that because I have seen both of those videos. So don't even worry about it. They drive, Collin. It's a cross-country road trip to every single Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah,
and then a year later or something, they do every single Margaritaville because apparently they like Jimmy Buffett. I don't know why, but they do.
Very, very interesting. You know what? Sure. Have fun, people.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
Yeah. It's all right. I have one slight addendum from last week, right?
Oh, yes.
I have more proof proving that the Tartarian mud flood theory is fake, right? This is... I wrote it down and I forgot to bring it up last week. So in the lull here, I'm going to throw it in here. According to this theory, right? Remember, they say that certain time periods are not real. Yes. But according to them, right? If this mud flood happened sometime between 1812 and 1850, that means the Republic of Texas never existed. Now, I want you, believers of the theory, I want you to go confront a Texan and tell them that the Republic of Texas is not real.
Yes.
And I want you to see what happens. I want you to see
Yeah, I would do that from a safe distance, probably from inside a car is what I would do.
Driving by.
Yes, not stopping. Just keep moving while you say this and quickly, and then just move on.
Yeah, so I just had that thought earlier in the middle of the week. I was like, oh, I forgot to say the Texas thing. So I just want to bring that up. Yet more proof. Just add that a little addendum asterisk at the end of last week's very long diatribe about things that are not real. So there you go. We could have that. So, I haven't really been up to anything really this week. We did went to another birthday party, right? So more quinceañera time. Waha.
Hey.
Right. So pretty fun. It was really fun. This time they had a lot. We stayed for like a really long time. We went with one of our other friends got invited and they'd never been to one before. So she was like, I'm going with you. I don't know what to do. I was like, mostly you sit and you just talk to 800,000 people that you see, right? It's like, that's the important part here. Very much the culture of like, you see somebody you know from across the room and you go over there and you like shake their hand and pat them on the back. That's just like the vibe, right? It's just like, you saw like all dads do in a restaurant, right? But it's just a room full of like Mexican dads. That's what they do. They just like go over and it's just like, hey, what's up, man? Like it's just it's the same thing, right? It's the exact same. I'm sure, I'm just like, what, they let you in here? What the heck? Like that's just what's going on. Like
yes. Peak comedies of that.
Yeah, right.
That also encompasses every coaching clinic I've ever been to.
Oh, I bet. I bet the coaching is the
worst. A bunch of old dudes like, I can't believe they let you in here. You're like, just shut up. It's 7 a.m. Just let me go away. So I can. The moment you said that, I can definitely feel what that atmosphere is like.
Yeah,
like,
it's definitely like that. But like, so it was really sweet, right? This is like a family that we've known for like forever. So it was like really sweet, and they were like really happy we were there and everything. But the only bad part was they were like, oh, we're gonna let you guys come sit down in the front, right? Which normally is cool, right? Because you're like, you can see the big table with all the chambelans and the damas, right? And the big like giant throne princessy chair that she's sitting in, right? We were also right in front of the opening band, right? Which was like, there were definitely 4 trombones.
And it wasn't even that big of a parade, but still impressive.
No, it was a lot because when you're sitting right in front of, I think there's 4 trombones and 2 trumpet players and like 2 drummers and like a keyboard.
It's not a front row experience you want.
Yeah. They had the keyboard was doing all the bass stuff, right? But through like these gigantic speakers, right? Somebody needs to tell these bands that you don't need to play the trombone into a microphone when you're playing that loud. It's just really not a necessary experience for anybody. so I, other than it was actually the loudest thing in the history of the universe, right? Like the loudest sound ever made, not Krakatoa. Okay, it's these dudes with the trombones. Okay, get out of here. Move over Krakatoa because this. Oh my heavens! It's just like blisteringly loud, like Norteño style music, just like right in the ear. So, other than not being able to talk for a very long time, that's also why you got to get up and go talk to people because you got to get away from the trombone. That was my big excitement for this week. It was really cool. We stayed a little bit later for some of the dancing. Right, I did not partake in the dancing because I'm too white for dancing. But we saw.
Well,
we got to watch some of it, and see a bunch of people. So that was really fun. That was my big excitement for this week. Getting my ears blasted by trombones. Right. And then that's pretty much it. Taking it easy. Susan's had to work a little bit here and there, doing her parents' teacher stuff. So But it's just like a little bit there, a little bit here. So we're just hanging out. Definitely not going to the Salvadorian bakery like all the time. 100% not doing that. Wait.
Trying not too hard. Okay.
Oh no. Wait a minute. We are going there a whole bunch of times. That's what we're doing.
Sorry.
Other than that, I've been doing a lot of research for this week. So
Man, you did a lot of research last week. So
yeah, but this research made me slightly less angry.
Oh, that's fine.
A little bit angry still, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So that's what.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
so yes, we were tasked with reading a book by Mr. Mark Twain.
Indeed.
We were.
Right. Aaron, you already read any Mark Twain ever?
Surprisingly, even when I was in school, I never picked up a Mark Twain book. Like I know the cliff notes of most of them, I think, maybe. But as far as like, oh, hey, Mark Twain. Yeah, never.
Yeah. I didn't so when I was in like high school, we didn't read any Twain unless we read like a short story that I don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember in college reading The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County in like my literature class that I had taken college. And then I read Tom Sawyer just on my own like later. And then I read Huck Finn because I was working as a paraprofessional and in high school, and they were reading Huck Finn for their literature class. So I was like, well, I should read this too, so I could know what the heck's going on. So I sort of read it for work, kind of, but in like an English class environment. But that's really the only things that I've read, right? I'm somewhat familiar with some other things, right? Just because now they're like such a big, important cultural touchstone moment that I'm like familiar with some Twain, but like, as far as I can remember, the only things I have read are those ones. So, but we decided because we were deciding to find a book, we're like, well, maybe Twain, because, we talk about Missouri things a lot. And you know what's a Missouri thing? Mark Twain. Bam. So we settled on A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, right? One of his later books. One of his later writings, but also a very popular thing. It's like it shows up in culture a lot, like the kind of story, the ideas have been recycled a lot. It's just kind of a big deal, right? So that's what we decided to do there. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to talk about here a little bit. But I've also been researching in my independent research this week. I have, of course, been researching King Arthur and the Arthurian legend, because it's a little rusty, right? It was like, I know there's like some knights and there's a round table and there's a rabbit and you have to run away, but no way. So I've been watching random videos about all of the King Arthurness, and I have also been reading a giant book about Gilded Age America, right? To kind of get some background about when Mark Twain was writing. Because a lot of Mark Twain writings are not so secret commentaries on the time in which he was living, right? He's kind of known for being a humorist and being very critical of everything in America during that time.
Indeed.
Yeah. So I thought, I should probably do some brushing up on that. So I have a I've also, just on the side, reading this monstrosity that is The Republic for Which It Stands, the United States During Reconstruction in the Gilded Age, 1865 to 1896.
Oh, my.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I've been reading through some of that. And that's the thing that's been making me really angry this week.
Oh.
Because you like read about like a lot of the struggles of like 1870, and you're like, dang it. That's the same struggles we have now.
We're not any better.
No.
Oh no.
And you read about things like certain political groups think that they're only speaking into echo chambers, and so that they think that their policies are much more popular than they really are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nope. That's not 2024, ladies and gentlemen. That is 1870. Oh, dang it. But it was in newspapers and not Twitter or X or blogs or whatever, right? Like, like that kind of stuff. And you're just like, oh no, we didn't solve anything, right? Like, oh, the rise of the corporation and how the Gilded Age became a fight between what's more important to America, corporate money or the American citizen.
I didn't want to have that discussion at all. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Also, the realization that, you know, when certain very, very, very like like conservative groups, right, when they're talking about things, right, when you hear them talk about things and like the way that it used to be, you're like, oh no, they are talking about 1880.
Right.
Oh no. These are words that I'm reading in this book right now. Like, oh no, that
was not good.
I thought you were talking about 1950 this whole time. No, it was 1880.
1880. Not again.
Yeah, not again. Right. So the distressing realization that some of these problems are like 140 to 150 years old. They're like, oh, no, wow. Boo.
Boo and hiss.
Yeah. And also hiss. Right. Yeah. So yeah. So that's my other research project I've been doing. So I maybe have interjections here and there if they come up, right? But as far as that goes, yeah. Let's talk about Twain a little bit, right? Very famous later in life, but his early life, right? He was basically just like a guy who, you know, kind of common for that time. He was just sort of like wandering around, doing whatever, right? Famously, he was a typesetter, a riverboat pilot. His short stint as a gold miner in the like California and Nevada, that didn't really go super well. And then a journalist. He was like, oh no, writing. Gold mining sucks. I don't want to do that anymore.
That's what I need. Yeah.
And then, you know, he became famous for his like lecture tour, right? Because he was not just a writer, he was an orator and like a humorist. So he would like go around and just like do talks, and people would just come listen to him. And so he would, you know, talk about that kind of, it was all based on like how he saw the world and things like that, but like a funny stint on the whole deal, you know? Yeah. And then the last thing I have here for my Mark Twain notes are generally considered one of the founding people in like the American literature genre, right? Because you have people before him like Edgar Allan Poe and stuff like that, but a lot of the work of early American writers is mirroring and being the same as English writers of the time, right? But Mark Twain is definitely American, right? Like 100%.
Wow.
And like his audience was like normal people, which was like the big kind of departure, because like other people that were reading at the time were like, you know, higher society, more educated people, right? But the way that Twain wrote, it was like for everybody. You know, that's kind of one of the hallmarks of his writing, which if you've read Huck Finn, you will know by the way that he writes all the dialogue in
colloquially.
Colloquialism.
Yes.
And it's notoriously difficult to read because he's writing in the dialect.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it's a little bit like, what? What are you talking about here? So, yeah, but he's big famous for that. So, yes, I have a few small notes on Mark Twain here. So, there you go.
Yeah, I my exposure to Mark Twain really was in Huck Finn, and pretty much only that going into this, and just but knowing that culturally touchstone on a lot of different pieces, and it's so much so that now you see references. Like I've probably encountered his works more through tertiary references than like directly, just because of how spread out it is. And but I know it's a Mark Twain reference just because it's been referenced so many times, but not because I have a connection directly back to his work.
Yeah. And a lot of his, like, he didn't write that many books, but like the ones that he wrote are still culturally relevant enough that like people know about Tom and Huck, right? Every once in a while, there's just like a new movie about it, like the '90s classic Tom and Huck. I believe starring Jonathan Taylor Thomas, if I'm not mistaken, right? JTT, right? The whirlwind that was mid-'90s. Could do no wrong. But like that, I know the Prince and the Pauper is a real thing. That was like there's a Mickey Mouse version of that I'm pretty sure that I've watched.
I really like that one.
Yeah, those are my favorites.
I have a vague memory of that. So like I know the story of these things, but like not because I've read the primary source material. Like you said, it's just like absorbed through the culture, right? Which is somewhat ironic because in this book, he's doing that same thing with like the King Arthur stuff. Because I read that during the kind of early 1800s, like there was a big resurgence in like Arthurian literature, right? It became popular again in England, right? And you know, the Victorians, they just loved all that kind of stuff. So it was like really popular. And I think he's kind of annoyed with it. And so that's one of the reasons he wrote this. It's like his response to that.
Yes. You definitely get the sense of that in reading of just there's a I don't know if I would go as far as a disdain, but definitely a tired and weariness with these things of almost like a really, this is what's impressive. This is these dullards, this kind of old, retold, rehashed things. This is what's intriguing to everybody. Kind of eye roll moment.
Yeah, already. Even in the first little bit is just like introduction.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like what you get already through the character. Now, this book is weird in that it appears to be right. Like we got to talk about point of view here. Like who is talking about the story? What's going on? Right. So it appears so far is that the main character of the story here, this guy, he is, whose name I can't remember. It just like jumped out of my brain here. He is like he is dictating this story to Mark Twain. Right? That's kind of what's happening. Oh, Hank, of course. Hank Morgan is like telling the story to Mark Twain. Kind of. That's what it kind of seems like. So far. So that's kind of the weird part, is that we have some like big reliability problems with the narrator. Number one, it's Mark Twain. Number two, some random guy named Hank is dictating the story to Mark Twain, who is, of course, the made-up persona of Samuel Clemens. So, very...
Yeah. Again, a lot of complexity here, a lot of lenses to read through that.
Definitely.
Because, I wasn't... my first note for this, I really like the opening line. It really sets the stage for this of chapter 1 of Camelot. Once you read through the intro there, where it says Camelot, said I to myself, I don't seem to remember hearing of it before. Name of the asylum, likely.
That's
right? It really sets the tone for the point of view we're going to be getting on all this poppycock and hogwash.
Yeah,
it's great. I love this line so much. It's again because it's this commentary on these kind of tales, or this like you said, Brian, like the point of view of like I don't believe this. I'm going to come in feel with a not necessarily a chip on my shoulder already, but just a shrug mentality.
That's true, right? And like it's weird that this the reason that it starts off so weirdly, right, is because this story is like a very, very, it's one of the first stories that I could find reference using like time travel as a literary device.
Yes.
Right. So like the setup to this story is this guy gets in a fight at his work and he gets whacked on the head, and then he wakes up in a field in England.
Oh.
Right. That's the beginning. Right. He gets, some dude whacks him in the head with a crowbar. And then he wakes up and he's found by Sir Kay. So what? Like, yes. So it's a very, very early science fiction time travel novel? Question mark, right? Like one of the first people to do, not the first, H.G. Wells had a proto-bit story before the Time Machine that's sort of about time travel kind of, but like this is the first like guy gets like blacks out, wakes up in a different time, different place.
Yep.
That's the literary device that we're using here.
Yeah. And quite inventive for the late 1800s.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah.
So yeah, it's like one of the first of its kind. It's a good way to use it, right? Because you don't really have to think too much about explaining the ins and outs of how it got here, right? You don't got to worry about that too much. It's just like, oh, yep, I'm here now. Boom.
Yes.
There you go. So in 1889, this is when this book was published, 1889, right? So that's kind of the new thing going on here. So he's in Camelot. He's convinced that these people are insane. And he, being, the Connecticut man that he is, he thinks that all this is, like Collin said, this is some shenaniganry here. He doesn't like this at all.
Yeah. I mean, and he's like really not impressed with the people that he's seeing, right? Really feels like it's just this big dump of a place, right? Like he doesn't. You can tell he's very like, my goodness, what a horrible. I got that feeling of reading to this of just kind of he's looking around, being like, look at this rundown place about me.
Yeah, he's not impressed. It's like it's not very interesting to him. He's kind of over it already, and he just like showed up, right? But I think that has to do with who this Hank guy is, right? When we talk about his job, right, his occupation, right, this is something that's like very 1880, right? He is like he's what's it called here? I can't remember the word that they use exactly, but he's a mechanic, an engineer, a machinist.
Yeah,
right. That's what he does, and so he is kind of embodying that like free labor idea of the late 1800s of like I take life into my own hands. I invent things, right? This guy probably knows like Thomas Edison, right? Like he's that kind of dude, right? He's like he's an engineer. He worked in the army. He makes like cannons and guns and all this stuff. He talks about how like I can make things, and if I can't make a thing to solve the problem, if I sit there a little bit longer, I can invent a new thing that can, right? That's the paraphrase here. Can't remember where that is in the book, but that's kind of his attitude. Like he's like, I am, he's like the most modern man of 1889, right? Because that's kind of his thing on life, right? And he thinks about that, and he thinks about, oh yes, I'm so much better than this. These guys are just, they don't have anything cool, right? There's this, what is this backwards like shenanigans? You got a horse, get out of here with the horse. No one wants it. Like, yeah, you dressed all goofy, like I don't like it, right? So yeah, you can definitely at the end of chapter 2, he just comes out and says it, right? Their physiological bearing is not an outcome of mental training, intellectual fortitude, or reasoning. It is a mere animal training, right? He says they are white Indians. Oh no. Famously, Mark Twain not a really big fan of Native Americans, right? Not really. Oh wow, not really huge, which is weird because like he changed his mind about racism and immigration during his life. He's famously quoted as saying like, I was racist when I was younger because no one told me any different way to be, right? And then I grew up and was like, oh, wait a minute, actually. So he kind of changed his attitude on immigration and racism towards like Africans and African Americans, but not Native Americans, famously, which is weird. That he thinks that way. It's a bit of an odd thing to like stop being racist to everybody except a little bit awkward, but yeah. So he kind of is, that may be a little self-insert moment there where he's like, what is this? This is just like backwards, boring nonsense. I'm a modern man of the modern age. Get out of here with these shenanigans.
Well, and chapter 2 of actually titled King Arthur's Court, it starts out with just this presumption, again, this bias that he's bringing in. I love this interaction that he has, right? Where he comes in and he says, I grabbed a man. I said, friend, do me a kindness. Do you belong to the asylum or are you just visiting? And the guy responds, Mary, facer, me seemeth, that'll do. I said, I reckon you are a patient. I love this because this is... If they're like, yep, you confirmed my bias. I already assumed this going in, and I know now. Tut along, find me, and he's like, tell me to someone who knows there was actually competent around here.
Yeah, and then he does ask for after that, like around that time, he's asked for what year is it?
Yes,
right, which is a bit odd. He's like, according to your notion, what year? Because the guy says something about like, a year, and he's like, maybe I didn't hear you. Can you repeat that again? And he says, yeah. And he's like, okay, so by your recollection, what year is it now? And he says that it's 528, the 19th of June. Yeah. Right. And so after that, we get a bit of weirdness because he's like, oh, well, I happen to know that like on oh my gosh, 2 days, in 2 days hence, there shall be a complete solar eclipse. So I'll just have to wait until then to see what's actually going on. You're like, what? Who knows that?
Again, somebody haughty and full of themselves. And even prior to that, whenever he's having an interaction with this gentleman, he's our friend here says said you come with me and inform me that he was a page, and he says, and I said, it's informed me that he was a page. Go long, I said. You ain't more than a paragraph.
That was kind of funny.
And he says it was pretty severe. However, it never fazed him. He didn't seem to appear that he was hurt. Again, a play on words, a beautiful play on words. I said I'm a page because he's not in the mindset of 500s, right? Word page. I mean, he thinks he's trying to. Anyway, I'm not going to explain it. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's very weird, right? But we do have to pretty much immediately here just take a timeout, and we have to address the elephant in the room, which is the historical inaccuracy of placing this book in the 6th century. Right? And like, I understand that like modern history has done a much better job of like defining this, right? And the Arthurian legend is very nebulous, but like the popular version of Arthur that was going around at the time was the retelling from like the 14th century, right? And so now it is likely that the legend began sometime in the 6th century, right? But like the illustration, my book has illustrations, right? It has the original illustrations in it. And like the way that they're describing things, right? And the way they're talking about things, and even how they're describing the people in the court, like that's not 6th century. I hate to be that guy. Here. But talking about dudes holding a halberd, which is definitely 18th century German thing. So
yes.
So hold on. No. Talking about right. You have like knights and jousting and all that stuff. Like that's not 6th century, right? 6th century is like Saxons, right? Like this is like migration era Saxons. Right after Rome left England, that's kind of where the Arthurian legend sort of begins. And so there's not knights in shining armor and chivalry and stuff like that, right? But that is interesting because, like as an aside here, the story of King Arthur is so interesting and it's lasted for so long because, right, like every single person that's written it just adds something of their time to the story, right? So King Arthur is like the world's oldest fan fiction.
Oh.
right? Because like, every author that was like, oh, I want to tell a story about this, we're going to add a knight to the round table, right? Like, aha, Lancelot. Yeah. And they'll like put the stuff that was important to their time onto that character, right? Like Gawain or Lancelot or whoever, right? And so the story evolves and changes over time based on who is telling the story, right? So it's kind of like Batman, right? Like all the different Batman comic books, depending on who the author is, right? Batman is a little bit different, right? He's got a different villain to go against based on how that story, what story you need to tell, right? But it's a character that adapts to like all kinds of situations and tells all kinds of different stories, but it's the same character. And I think Arthur kind of does the same thing, right? Which is why you can have a sword in the stone and an Excalibur and a Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and it all just kind of, it doesn't matter. It's all, it all just works for whatever it is because Arthur's like the vessel for the story, right? So we'll see eventually what story Twain is going to tell with this vessel of Arthur. But I think that that's interesting, right? That it's like the reason that it's so weird is because like people just add to it over time, and it's kind of like a fanfic, right? Like,
yeah,
there's like basic characteristics that you've got, and then you just go from there, you just wing it, right? Which is how you can get a kid in King Arthur's court. Boom, right? There you go.
So yes,
which I think is loosely based on this story. So we'll go for this.
So yes, there are some unfortunate historical inaccuracies here.
But in 1889, I don't think they knew that. So
I don't think they really cared. Yeah. And that really
was like medieval, whatever.
Yes, medieval. It sounds old timey, which is funny to think about this in 1889, thinking of, we'll just make it sound old timey.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like it's
because then our protagonist here, once he's like, again, I'm very interested to see if there is a story arc for this protagonist at all, because as soon as it is revealed to him of what year it is and he's starting to put these pieces of the puzzle together, but he's not quite believing it, he says, I would presently boss that asylum or know the reason why. And if, on the other hand, it was really the 6th century, all right, I didn't want any softer thing, I would boss the whole country inside of 3 months. For I judged I would have the start of the best educated man in the kingdom by a matter of 1,300 years. Basically saying like, well, either way, I'm going to be running this joint because I'm better educated than all these folks. And I have a feeling that it's not going to go too well for him based off of how we're setting this guy up.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if he actually has a character arc or if he's just like a static guy that maintains through the whole thing and it's just like a weird thing. So that will be interesting to plot along with and see what happens, right? Like that'll be for sure interesting. Oh. And then chapter 3 is like story time, right? Which is weird because they're just like, his little page friend is like, all right, I'm taking a nap. I'm out. I've heard the same story 800,000 times. See you later.
Yeah, this was interesting because yes, there were all the other prisoners of Sir Kay asking the lady to either like let them go or have them killed. This part was kind of dark. Anyway, but yeah,
it's getting. So we're introducing some of the other characters in the story. Like this is all still like kind of background stuff, right? We're touching on source material here and there, right?
Yeah, Lancelot, Galahad,
this whole time, right? Well, even Sir Kay, right? Sir Kay is famously, if you recall, the Sword in the Stone.
Yes,
right. Sir Kay is like the adopted brother of King Arthur, right?
Yes.
He grew up in the house, right? Not knowing he was a king because Merlin was hiding him away, and then he pulls out the Sword in the Stone. He's actually trying to give a sword to Sir Kay to fight in the tournament. And he's just like, oh, here's a sword. Yonk.
Yep.
What? Right. So if you remember that Disney classic, that's great. You should add that to Noah's list because that's a good one. I think I might have to watch that movie again. I have it around here somewhere. But that's the Sir Kay we're talking about, right? Is who that is. And then, we're getting some names here. Sir Lancelot. Right. We touch on, It was touching to see the queen blush and smile and look embarrassed and happy and fling furtive glances at Sir Lancelot that would have had him shot in Arkansas. Right. Touching on the source material, like, yeah. It's Guinevere, the whole Guinevere and Lancelot thing, right? That's a whole subplot to the actual Arthurian legend, right? But so I thought that was funny. That was a funny way to introduce that part. Like, it would surely have him shot in Arkansas. That's pretty good. Then we get a little bit about we see Merlin, right, comes in and he starts telling his story, and that's when the guy's like, nope, I'm out, I'm not gonna
again this is where I got the idea of Mark Twain's view on these tired, old, boring stories, rambling on and on.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it really comes to, because like, yeah, because what's his name? Clarence? Is that the boy's name?
Oh yeah, the
friend
page
here
guy.
Yeah, the page. Yeah, because parents, he actively glowers. Like, the mighty liar and a magician, perdition singe him for the weariness he worketh with one tale.
Yeah, because he's like, I've heard this so much, I can't. And yeah, it kind of feels like a more self-insert of Twain, like, this story again, right? Like, yeah, we know Excalibur, Lady Lake, whatever. Next, let's go. Like, come on.
Yes. It's like, move along. But yeah.
He telleth it always in the third person, making believe that he is too modest to glorify himself.
And you read this, and again, Mark Twain's gift of writing in a way where you can just feel like this, and obviously with the page kind of setting up, being like, oh, this is a rambling, shambling tale. It reads like a rambling tale, and you can just hear that throughout this entire thing.
Yes, just kind of blah 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 blah.
It's like, and so, and then, and so, and then. That, what damsel is this? That is the Lady of the Lake, and within the lake is a rock. And it's like, there's a lot of,
there's more, but wait, there's more.
There's so much more. And the arm and the hand went under the water, and so they came into the land. Just, yeah, but I'm yada-yadaing in my head as I'm reading through.
But it's interesting too that like this is kind of just the chapter where Twain is like, he is retelling the Arthurian parts of the Arthurian legend too, just to kind of set the backdrop, right? He's making fun of the tiredness of the Arthurian legend to set the backdrop for the Arthurian legend that he's put his character in. Yeah. Right. Which is kind of meta to think about, right? It's like, what?
Yes. Yeah.
He's like telling you, but in case you don't know, he's like telling you to the reader, right? Like, just in case the reader doesn't know.
It's a great way to do it.
Up, right?
Yeah, it's a fantastic way to do it, to get you caught up while also having some commentary on it along the way.
Yes. Right. So that's kind of what we got here is kind of the backstory of Arthur. Right. Yes. Lady, they pulled the sword from the stone. Yes. Mighty King fought Pellinore the Black Knight. Oh. Then lost his sword. Went to a lake, got a new sword, Excalibur. Dun, da, da, da. Now, mighty warrior. Scabbard is magical. That's important. He does make sure to mention that part, because that's the part that's big important in the legend too. Is like, Excalibur is a great sword. The scabbard is magical, and it will keep you safe and will not let you take damage. Right? Like,
yes. Do not ex-nay the scabbard A.
Yeah. Check off scabbard here. We'll see how that goes. See if that's important for later.
It's been laid on the mantle. Laid on the mantle. Here we go. Yep. So yeah. I am really enjoying this book so far. It seems to be a quick read.
It went really fast. I just read those 3 chapters, like it felt like 5 seconds. So
yes. Yes, it is not laborious, and it looks to be. I'm interested to see what happens to this character. And again, I'm trying not to bring. I'm trying to just read the story and experience it, as opposed to like thinking ahead too much on this, and just see where this takes us. So
yeah, because we'll see how it goes. We're focused on thinking backwards about all of the source material. But there we go. I would like to take this time to interject my new weekly segment, quotes from Mark Twain, right? Because he is known for being an orator, right, and a great speaker and a critic of things, right? And so we're going to start off with one that you might know, but might not know it's Twain, right? The ever classic. It's not the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog. That is classic Mark Twain, the perennial fan of the underdog, rooting for the common man, right? So that's gonna be our first. Aaron, you can use that one. You're coaching, right? You make sure you got that one in your repertoire, right? You get to...
I like that.
Okay. But there you go. I just wanted to add that because there's lots of really hilarious Mark Twain quotes, so I'm going to sprinkle some of those in too. As we go here.
Well, I look forward to that little extra bonus at the end of everything.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So yes, I am looking forward to this. I think all the chapters are pretty much the same length. Do you want to continue to do 3-4-ish chapters at a time, or
what do you want to do? 3 or 4? Yeah, because the next chapter, chapter 4, is 3 pages. So
let's read the next 4 chapters then.
All right, sounds good.
So we're gonna finish on chapters 7.
All right, can do.
Right,
because they're pretty short. So
yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm looking for this. Okay. Any other thoughts on the book?
No, I think those first couple chapters just do a good job of it's a good way to do exposition that's not just too horrible, right?
Yeah.
He just comes out and says it because again, I'm a big exposition hater, right?
Yes.
And so, so the fact, I think the literary device of having somebody else telling him this story that happened is a way to speed it up, right? It just zips through because you're kind of getting Twain has no idea what's happening, so this other guy that it happened to is just telling him what happened. So it's just kind of you don't need any background really. The background is I was in a machine shop and I got in a fight. I got whacked in the head. Done. Mm-hmm. Right there we go. You just get the opening inciting incident in the intro about he meets him in the museum or whatever, and he's like, what's this guy muttering about? What the heck's going on? And then he goes back and he reads about Lancelot in the book, right? That part was kind of interesting. He's reading about Lancelot. So that's Twain reading about King Arthur. And then this guy comes in and is telling him a story about King Arthur, kind of tying it all together. It's very interesting. So,
yes. Yeah, he does a great using somewhat logical story points to pull those needed piece of information out.
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
Okay, looking forward to the next 4 chapters. In closing here, I have an haiku.
All right,
to wrap this up.
All right.
Okay. Electric blue light, glowing in the stormy night, nature's silent glow.
Very nice.
Reference to the St. Elmo's fire.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Rob from last week. So,
not the 1985 movie. No, not that.
No. Also, it's fine. It's fine, but also. Who was in that movie?
Everybody. It's one of my least favorite Bragg Pat movies. I'm pretty sure.
Rob Lowe was in that.
Yeah,
movie.
Rob Lowe's in
that. Yeah. Okay. That's who I was trying to remember. But okay. Oh, and Demi. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Demi Moore's in that? Oh, anyway.
Demi Moore's in that.
Yes. I forgot about that.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. We'll add that to the watch list too.
Yes. All right. Well, no, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Good. Very good. Well, we'll do this again.
All right.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Okay. Love you.
Love you guys.
Me too.
Bye.
Bye.